Welcome back, everybody. We are joined by the legend that is Mr. Tom Cleverley, the Plymouth Argyle manager. Clevs, how are you doing, mate? Nice to see you.
Yeah, very well. Good to hear from you guys. I'm not sure about legend, but I'll take it.
Oh, mate, you're a legend in my eyes. That's all that matters. Let's just go straight into it. Clevs, you've taken over at Plymouth. Obviously, looking at the start of the season, looked like you went through a bit of a rocky patch getting your messaging across. What was the catalyst to getting over the line and now starting to see you right on the tails now, making a massive playoff push and feeling like you could actually go on and win it, in my opinion?
Yeah, a really difficult start, you're right. And it's important that we sort of look to ourselves first, to how we could get out of that. And me as the leader to give direction towards that. I think there was a number of things that we changed the system. So we've gone to 4-4-2 with real success. We brought in 3 really quality players in January. And then we had to grind out some results around the winter time. And then players' confidence grew. We had more and more consistency in this new shape. Me personally, I was learning more about the league and how to be effective at the level. And from there, it's grown to be a really good second half of the season. I think we're the top goal scorers in the league since the turn of the year. So that's been a strength of ours. It's not quite in our own hands with 4 games to go, with Stevenage having a game in hand and they play this evening. But we've got 4 big games to go, 12 points. I think we need at least 10 out of the 12, but we're in good form to do so.
Tom, you talk about that difficult start that you had. As a manager, do you question yourself? How do you try and find the answers to turn it around like you did successfully?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost is whenever times get rough, I always resort to hard work. So it was more research on the team, more research on the league, really connecting with a few of the senior lads in the dressing room to make sure that the belief was still in the group. And the players deserve a lot of credit for rolling the sleeves up, along with me and the staff, to make the season a success.
Tom, was there also things that you learned at your time at Watford that were maybe things that you might have said, maybe I'll not do that again, or things that you did do there that were successful that you took with you in this next journey at Plymouth?
Yeah, Watford's a real good place to learn your trade as a head coach, in terms of there's 15, 16 different nationalities in the dressing room. So managing different cultures, things like that was a big learning curve for me. Obviously managing upwards as well, which is something that's important of the head coach's role. And yeah, there were plenty of things that on reflection you'd maybe do a little bit different. But more what have I learned and how can I sort of refine that to make it a bit better. But managing different cultures, managing upwards, and now at Argyle it's a bit more about I've got control of a lot of the football club and the recruitment and things like that, and that brings different challenges and pressures to my role.
So now I know you and Troy know each other very well, and obviously you're the gaffer and stuff. If Troy was playing for you, would he be a star or would he be on the bench?
I think the best I've seen Troy was in a 4-4-2 the season we got to the cup final, and I think we finished 11th in the league. So we're a bit more rough and ready, plenty of crosses in the box, a bit more low risk in our own half. I think Troy would definitely enjoy playing for me in a minute.
Do you need me to come back, Gaff? That's what I'm hearing right now. I'm hearing give me 6 weeks, I'll be ready.
Well, he didn't say you was a starter. He made it seem like you'd be on the bench, but it's okay.
Of course, I'm fine. My ego's gone. No, I just wanted to just go back to a few things you said there, Cleves, about having more ownership now of where you are and what you're doing, the recruitment. Really important, isn't it, for a head coach to know not only what the plan is for right now, but long term, and the club aligning to your vision. How has ownership helped you? Because, again, without going into it, we know that that's difficult at Watford. So how would that now be at Plymouth? How has that actually helped you learn as well, having an ownership that believe in you and giving you that role and responsibility?
Yeah, I like to be accountable, and I felt massively accountable for the results in the first couple of months. But then when you get to the time to build a squad, and you can really shape it to what your vision of success is, I enjoy that. And then along with, there's obviously a couple of other key people at the football club, Derek Adams, technical director when it comes to recruitment, but you're accountable for the club's results, and you can sleep at night knowing, win, lose or draw, that I've been the key decision maker in that performance and that 11 players that are on that pitch. And it's, yeah, you can sleep at night knowing that you've done everything you could to do so, and you are fully accountable for what happens on that pitch.
Tom, I love the word that you use, accountable, that you love to hold yourself accountable as a manager. How do you transform and pass that message on to your players to be accountable on the pitch for things that they do?
Yes, it's a really good question. I think when you use the word accountable or accountability, people need to know what they're accountable for. So whether you're designing a set piece, or whether you're defending your box, or whether you're trying to create something, the players need to know exactly what they're in the team to do, or the staff need to know exactly what they're accountable for. And then people know exactly what I expect of them. And if they fall short, then why and how do we make that better? Or if it's a success, then again, a pat on the back, but how do we make that better? But I think I think a lot of people say, accountability, and a lot of people in the room don't know what their role is. So it's important I'm completely clear with that. I think a manager that me and Troy worked under, Marco Silva, I think his biggest strength was every time I went over that white line, I knew my job. I knew what was accountable for, and that now is my job.
Yeah, 100%. I've said it on numerous interviews as well, Clebs, that I think Marco's one of the best we ever worked with. He was harsh, he was loving at the same time. You loved him, you wanted to run through a brick wall. You was also scared of him as well, wasn't you? There's so many different angles that he gave. I just wondered there, you're talking about yourself as a player. What's been the biggest change over the last 3 or 4 years of you as a player and the hard-working man that you was then and the player you was to now? How are you? Because people don't know, you were a little bit spiky at times, wasn't you, mate? That's the way I would use it, spiky.
Yeah, and I've been, I've had to sit in the stands a couple of times already. But no, I think it's tough because we like to be part of the lads and being close to each other, and you've got to sort of separate yourself in terms of how close you are to the players, but I'm just being myself, you know. I don't go into work and then put Tom Cleverley, the manager, mask on. I'm just myself. I think it's important. We've all been players, and we can see straight through a manager that's not been himself or authentic. So, I'd imagine I'm not as... there is a little bit that sort of player-manager distance that I've created in the last 3 years, but still trying to stay true to myself.
Tom, I'm sure you and Troy have shared some kebabs at 2 a.m. Back in the day, years ago. But now you're in Plymouth. Tell the American audience, is there a famous dish that you've had from Plymouth or something that's really amazing in the city? Yeah,
well, Plymouth's famous for its pasties. And I've got to admit, I'm not a huge fan. I think so. It's a meat pasty is something that you'd see everywhere around the stadium. It's the place is famous for it. It's a bit like, for us Northerners, it's a bit like a pie. I'll take a pass on it, but I respect it's a big part of the culture down here.
Talking of that, mate, we have just had mascot madness throughout the month of March. Your mascot, Pilgrim Pete, won that. Our American audience love him, love his story, love the fact as well, Klebs, that he actually gave us a video, giving us all the background, and then showed a little bit of his wild side as well. So how important is it for a mascot? For out here in America, I don't believe they truly get what fully mascots do at a match day with the fans and with obviously your players, how important they can be.
Yeah, they're a huge part of the matchday experience, of the tradition of the club. I think the Pilgrim and the Mayflower that is our badge. There's big sort of historical connections between USA and Plymouth as a city. So I'd imagine that connection had something to do with the vote. But let me tell you, he's a guy who takes his job very, very seriously.
More than Harry the Hornet.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't think I could see something more passionate than Harry the Hornet's dancing, but yeah, when I see Pilgrim Pete on a match day, he's serious about his work.
Love it. Clebs, wish you all the best moving forward, mate. 4 massive games, as you said, coming up. Wish you all the best with that and hopefully speak to you in the playoffs, mate. Be safe and see you soon.
Good luck.
Great to hear from you guys. Cheers.